Hey everybody, welcome to Connecting Cannabis, brought to you by Wrazel. I'm your host, Brian Haller. Thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate your time. Today's guest is Lindsay Blackwell. He is the CEO and co-founder of PeakTerra, a cannabis incubator. So I know a lot of you out there are going to want to be very tuned into what he's talking about and his advice. So we're really excited to have him here, and I look forward to our conversation. But of course, first we would like to hear a bit from our sponsor. The Wicked Roots mission is to unlock the healing power of cannabis and create trusted, safe, and highly effective wellness products. They firmly believe that cannabinoids and terpenes found in cannabis and hemp have the potential to positively impact millions of lives, and their team is dedicated to making this a reality. Utilizing proprietary DNA, the Wicked Root offers a brand of pharmaceutical-grade CBD products people can rely on. The Wicked Root team utilizes a full-spectrum CBD base infused with select terpenes to create optimal, science-backed formulas that are consistent and deliver targeted effects. To learn more about the Wicked Root, visit thewickedroot.com, or for more on their current investment opportunity, find Wicked Root in the Wrazel investment marketplace at wrazel.com. Lindsay, hello, sir. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
You know, I'm doing fine. Thanks a lot. Can't complain. It's really hot down here in Southern California today. So, beautiful outside and good. How's it up there in the Great White North?
Calgary, it's good. It's about what you'd say 68 degrees Fahrenheit today.
Oh, so that's nice and comfortable up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Golfing weather.
Absolutely. Very good. Very good. Well, let's hop right in, of course.
Sure.
Cliff Notes version, if you could. So PeakTerra is a cannabis incubator. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's more to it than that.
Yeah, we're an incubator and a curator of cannabis companies, but not just cannabis, hemp, and also agri-foods. We want to be the ones that start morphing our industry from cannabis and hemp to start to focus on nutraceutical natural health products, and then start thinking more plant sciences and agri-tech. So we want to integrate businesses in the traditional hemp cannabis space of cultivation, extraction, processing, and distribution, now to include a much bigger portfolio, a much bigger offering, and be part of an industry where people can't wait to get in, that are knowledgeable and good business people, not just anybody who's looking to make a buck.
Exactly, and I think that's interesting designation that you point out, and an important one as well. Talking in terms of people think of cannabis as an industry, and I get why, but really it's agriculture, retail, countless other things,
yes,
recreational,
exactly. Yeah.
So it's really interesting and enlightening to hear you talk about it from that perspective, given your experience and your background and what PeakTerra does.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's kind of get into that. So let's say I'm a cannabis business and I'm getting started. Why would I want to come talk to you in PeakTerra?
Well, because our first incubator in Tabor is a 60-acre site that integrates turnkey space for micro cultivators, about 30 of those. Then we've got our own nursery, testing lab, extraction lab, and then we have a suite of 20 units for processing. So we got the whole chain right there. The ecosystem that's needed, and every one of those have to produce 40% margin, or else it doesn't work. And so the cultivator gets paid, the extractor gets paid, and the processor always makes more money in the end anyway. Those are the key components. And then we just start to layer on all the other parts of it. Now you've got research labs. Now you've got all that different capability. Add beverages, all these different hemp terminals. So we process the whole plant, not just the CBD. Now you're starting with feedstock that are going to build cars and combines and boats. And now you've got Adidas buying it to make apparel. And now you're off to the races.
Yep. And it all starts with that kind of core, that core entity right there that you guys have developed, essentially. Once you grow that out, then the other kind of other things that get built on top of that, or ancillary or service providing things, to build up.
That's the other part. You got to, people need help with legal, accounting, HR, regulatory. it's a complex industry, lots of money. You don't want to screw it up. So you need to do something to help people do that, to be able to be successful. If you don't want them to be successful, then let them fail. But we want everybody to be successful, because we're taking 2%, that 2% grows if everybody's successful. Everybody's gonna make it. And right now, as an industry, it's probably a little less so in the United States than it is here in Canada, but we're all silos. People aren't playing together. We'll never live for another day if we don't smarten up and learn to work together.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I think that's probably, I would assume that's one of your kind of guiding forces towards creating PeakTerra. Certainly echoes that at Wrazel. It's the same kind of thing. We seek to be a hub to bring things together, to make people do it. And in fact, if everything goes well, Lindsay's company tees them up, and then we can help take them from there. So,
right.
And that's how we can continue to grow. And that's one of many different types of models that you could do for partnership and growth together.
And it's amazing when you just get like-minded people that can work together. You don't have to be a business that does everything. You just need partners that can focus on their core competency, and somebody needs to be the system integrator. Somebody needs to be the facilitator that makes it all happen. We're the GUI.
Yeah, the unicorns are the people that understand how both sides of the equation works, and they can talk to each other and see it from that macro perspective and map out the, kind of thing, map out the process and the way that we get there, and to hold people to that, which is one thing I like about you guys setting a certain threshold for revenue generation for each step of the supply chain. Not only is that just smart practice, it tells people that you're going into business with what the expectations are, so that there's no confusion.
Right. And then we go a step farther now with the other member companies that we're affiliated with. Now we can provide power to ourselves. Now we can provide insurance to ourselves. Now we can provide data analytics and capture to part of that. So now we really get to help everybody understand their business, not just, hey, whatever you're producing. This is what your run rate was the last 6 months to 12 months. This is what you had projected. This is where you are. These are some anomalies that we've now saw, and now we want to help. That, to create an excellence, we need to raise our level especially for any of us that are looking at international sales. Post-COVID, even domestic sales. People not putting things in their bodies without trusting and knowing what they are. To think that you can just put it in a package and make it look good and have some celebrity promote it for you is not going to cut it.
No.
Any more than it is for your talent.
Exactly. And especially when it comes to cannabis. I mean, even in general, I would think that even if everybody was all schooled up and knew all the different, things that they need to be about THC versus CBD, strains do this, strains do that, they still would be this way. They would still want the education. They'd still want more knowledge. They would still want to utilize that so they can take it to other people. It's just the nature of most of the people I've met within the industry. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. That's the beauty of it. That's what makes going to work every day so enjoyable, because you meet so many cool people.
Yeah, I know. It's got to be my favorite thing about working at Wrazel, and I'm sure you get a lot of the same thing. I get the luxury and the fortunate opportunity to meet all sorts of people from all sorts of aspects of cannabis, or even ancillary to it, all up and down the supply chain, of different experience levels, different notoriety, different knowledge. I just am like a sponge every day, and it's really intoxicating. Certainly, I'm sure you get that same kind of momentum from what you do as well.
Yeah, it is. And then once upon a time, as a former politician, it was pretty. It seemed bold at the time to go out and say, "This is what I'm going to do." And then I see my former boss, Brian Mulrooney, is the highest paid director at 13 million and change as a director, not the CEO. He's a director. Right. And I said, how times have changed. And everybody looks at him differently. And I said, oh. And I said, yeah, you guys he sees the business end of it. You guys just see the social end of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's more people that are coming that see the business end of it. And it's all good.
Well, even more than that, and you know this as well as anybody, Lindsay, there's a strong business element to the social element if you're doing it correctly.
100%, 100%. If you're selling cars, what's wrong with selling a Lamborghini? And and the connoisseurs, the people who like quality. I mean, we have it so hard here to understand the black market is not just price. It's quality, but it's service too. You don't get firms in other places when somebody fronts you something, but also what you get is an understanding of everything that's going on and what the customer's looking for. They set the standard. They're not following and trying to play catch up. Everybody, instead of being a race to the bottom, race to quality, raise your margins. You can, there's a guy in the black market who makes a Cohiba wrapped cone of hashish and cannabis, about 3.5 grams, $100 on the black market through his website, sells 130 minutes. Yeah. And why? Because that's not for everybody. But the guy's going golfing with the boys this weekend.
Guess he 100% wants that. That's exactly right.
And that's the thing, right? It's like it's beer and wine. We're evolving to the, beer 20 years ago, microbrews made less than 2% of the market. Now, and 20, 30% of the market. Wineries, you want the best wine, you got to go there. You can't even get in a liquor store. You got to go there. But that's what we do. Get in the car, we drive 8 hours and come back with a couple of boxes. That's what we have to do. People will go to quality. Just bring it to them. They're starving for it. And you got that there. We're trying to get that here.
Exactly. And you and I are basically just talking about, like, I'm sure you and I could talk about market research nuances until the cows come home, because it's a big part of what both of us have to do on a day-to-day basis. And we just have to have knowledge of kind of where the business is going, where the industry is going, where, trends, et cetera. I think that what I want to reiterate, especially to the folks that might be looking at PeakTerra as a resource, is look under your own hood. Make sure that you are prepared even before you go say hello to Lindsay. Make sure you've done everything possible to get yourself, we like to call it buttoned up, but just prepared to get everything in order, at least to the best of your knowledge and ability. No one's saying you have to be an expert, but there is baseline things that everybody should know, and knowing that is going to help elevate the entire industry. Ojai Energetics has the most advanced water-soluble CBD on the market. Its fast-acting, most viable products are made without synthetics. Most users feel the benefits with proper dosage in under 30 seconds, not 30 minutes like a regular CBD rich oil. Their products are created using organic ingredients and regenerative farming practices, benefiting both people and the planet. Ojai Energetics provides CBD users with a dependable bridge to optimal living, promoting everyday health and well-being. To see their products, visit OhaiEnergetics.com. And to learn more about their current investment opportunity, visit their profile in the Wrazel investment marketplace at Wrazel.com.
And before I got into PeakTerra, we had a consulting business, a boutique consulting business, helping people get prepared. You start off and you think you're going to just do the application, get the business plan, but you learn right from that business plan, 99% of the time it's not right. But you can help adjust it. There's nothing wrong with not having it all right. You need to have it right when you get moving forward, or else it's going to cost you money, and it may cost you the ability to be successful.
That's right. And certainly in our case, the more you go up the chain, the more that's on the line, obviously. So, and the more expectations that are on you, the more prepared you're going to be expected to be. So if you want to give that extra, that's going to actually have to elevate every step that you go up the chain as well. So.
Right. Exactly. That's why we say, we're trying to make sure we have, from a data perspective, you got referenceable data, look at the chain of custody and each of the process to the point where you have admissible evidence that you can produce in court. Because guess what? Chances are you're going to end up there, and it'll end your company if you don't have that kind of protection. It's right now seems like a nice to have all these things. Soon it's just going to be a standard operating procedure that either you're in and play or you don't.
Yep. Speaking of which, I'm sure people are listening to us going, well, this is very interesting. How the heck do I, I'm an American company. Is there any hindrances for me calling Lindsay, and working with PeakTerra?
Absolutely not. We've got 6 MOUs with U.S. companies, either licensing royalty deals or having them come and take one of these bays that we outfit with all the equipment that they need based on their SOPs, produce their product, not only for the Canadian market, but now we can transport it internationally for them. Gives them a first stage advantage to be able to start looking at international markets whilst they're still waiting for legislation in the U.S. to be able to allow them to export from there. So, and we have other international ones. We have a 60-acre park. We're only developing the first 10 acres. We've got lots of room. We've got inquiries in every continent and several states. And we will be bringing one of our parks to somewhere else. It's a collaborative ecosystem of what already happens. It's just now putting it together, kind of using the old Ray Kroc principle of making sure you build it, you make sure that everybody is then compliant, everybody's good, you get your little, they get theirs, everybody's happy.
Yep, and it's scalable and replicatable, which is even better.
Right.
And so in order to do something like that, you got to put a lot of effort. Like Lindsay and his team have put in a tremendous amount of effort to organize this properly, and of course a lot of trial and error, which which of course has
hopefully we learn off of other people's trials and errors. Yes, there
that
are some
too, yes.
We all have them. It's amazing what snaps you forward when you make that mistake. You learn a lot more.
Exactly. And so obviously Lindsay is a fantastic resource, especially for cannabis companies or hemp or CBD or agribusiness companies that are starting out, especially, or that are just looking to make that, I don't know, would it be fair to say to take themselves to the next level, essentially?
Yeah.
That's kind of what you're looking for. Of course, a lot of startups are going to be most beneficial for an incubator.
Right.
So.
And that's some of the things what we've done in our market we can do here. Obviously can't do it cross border, but we have to produce X amount of quantity of dried flower, but we also have contracts with other producers. We want to create that chain. We know if we can help each other, then we can keep more of us afloat. So all of a sudden we go from 2 to 20 to 50 to 100. Now we've got something sustainable. Now that's a model that everybody sees. Oh, these are all happy people working together. Dude, imagine that. And it is inspiration, and society is great because imitation is the greatest form of flattery, and we hope many people do.
Indeed, and in this case, it just, I don't know, what's the famous cliche is a rising boat lifts all, or rising water lifts all sails, right? So,
right, rising tide lifts all boats. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, rising tide. Anyhow, that's the whole principle. Is ultimately, and that's what we're built on. It's what you're built on too. Wrazel, PeakTerra, we are entities that if we work with you, the more clients that we get, the more we don't just help ourselves, we help them, and they help each other. And then they help the industry as a whole.
Right.
You get more of that happening, and then people figuring out how those things work together.
Right.
And really making some hay. Yeah,
and for us, it's not just cannabis, hemp, agri-food, agri-tech companies. We end up with a bank and an insurance company in the Caribbean, and we end up with a data partner in Toronto, and we've got another data analytics partner in Germany. It's just we're open to anybody. It's your only limitation is your creativity, your imagination. I always say, how do you fit yourself in an ecosystem? If it's commerce and people are transacting, people who are in business will find a way.
Yeah, they will get there. If you build it, they really will come. I promise you that. It's your job to figure out who the right people are, though, and who the wrong people.
And that's true. That's true. Yep. And it's like you just can't, as much as you start off, and that's the thing we get desperate in the industry. You're just desperate to get going, get the first dollars in the door. Sometimes no deal is better than a bad deal. And if you take a step back to take a strategic step forward, but never compromise yourself, because your integrity, your reputation, and your brand is everything. I mean, that sounds cliche here over and over, but the day you sell it, the day you're done.
Yep, that's exactly right. Yep, the day you don't have any control over it, you should need to let go of that control. because you don't have it anymore.
Right.
And until then, you do. So take advantage of it. You know, and really own it. You know.
Yeah.
Exactly right. So let's see, what's coming down the pipe for PeakTerra?
Well,
What's next on the horizon?
The biggest one is that our park going under construction in Tabor is our first one. We've had engineers and our architects working on this for the better part of 6 months, and now they're going 3D modeling. We'll be able to put that up on our website soon, so you'll be able to walk through the buildings, but even be able to touch, look at the lights. What's the lights? What's the power? It's meant as a open source tool for others to be able to use. And we just want to set a higher standard, but we eventually want the government to come in and understand we can take out some of these processes and reduce some of the cost as long as we're getting the compliancy that you need. But let's work together to make that happen, because then we'll get more people into the legal end of the industry and you get more revenue.
Exactly. And there's strength in numbers to this effect. You know, you guys certainly can help a lot of smaller businesses become not so small,
Right.
because they'll all work together and you can see it from the macro perspective, whereas
Right.
they need to be focused on their business.
Right. Yep.
So it's a great way to go. So, okay. So everybody listening today or watching us, you know, if you are a business owner in any of the fields that PeakTerra services, and you are, you know, starting off, or you're hitting a nice spurt of growth and you need some, you know, that you need some help, Lindsay, where can they find PeakTerra and you?
They can find us at www.peakterra.com.
Very, very good. Lindsay, thank you so much for being on the show today. I definitely could do this time and time again. Wouldn't be bad to, you know, in a little while, do another report and update, you know, so all sorts of things like that. So thank you so much for joining me today. And I look forward to doing it again sometime soon.
Well, I look forward to it. We should hopefully have a good announcement in the next short while, and we'll be talking again.
That sounds great. Hey, Lindsay, thank you so much again. Have a great day, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Goodbye.
Pleasure.